Sled Addicts is brought to you by Team Vincent Motorsports, Bergstrom Carbines, Ledger Performance, Westway Motel, Stud Boy Studs, and Radio World. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here we are up in beautiful Cochrane, Ontario. We're just on one of the main side roads here, hanging out, and today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about my new 2026 Backcountry XRS 850 Turbo. What an incredible sled. You know, since Skidoo launched this machine last year, I was super stoked because introducing this platform and a 43-inch wide front end with the 850 Turbo, I knew was going to be a killer sled. Last year, I was able to load a pile of kilometers. I think we had about 5,400 kilometers on that sled. Absolutely flawless, did everything we could possibly want it to do, and really is the true Swiss Army knife of sleds from Skidoo for 50-50 riders. Up here, when we're in Cochrane, we're doing lots of trail riding. We're also doing lots of off-trail. And really the 146 from Skidoo in the backcountry model is the answer for all that type of riding if that's what you're going to be doing. Today, we're going to get this thing out on the trail. We're going to give you guys some initial impressions on how this sled handles. So I hope you like it. Let's get out there.
One thing that's cool about the backcountry or the 850 turbos, you got shot start. It just lights up. Super cool. All right, guys, we're on my brand new 2026 Backcountry XRS 850 Turbo, and just wanted to bring you some initial impressions on the sled. And you guys know I've been a huge fan of the backcountries for the last probably 3-4 years now, and then obviously last year with the introduction of the 2025 backcountry with the 850 Turbo and a 43-inch wide front end was essentially the answer for me in terms of like a perfect 50-50 sled that will handle trails really well and also work extremely well off trail. And I loaded up about 5,500K on my 25 last year and absolutely loved it. Just a phenomenal sled. And so, you know, we'll talk a little bit more about this 26 that I'm riding this year. Not too much has changed. Obviously, the big difference is, you know, colors this year. It was a kind of a big thing. I don't think a lot of people like the baby poop looking sled that I had last year, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. This one's in Scandi blue, beautiful color, looks awesome on snow. Red accents, absolutely gorgeous. Not a ton of changes really, you know, for the sled this year. It's pretty much identical to last year. The one thing you will notice that's a little bit different, obviously, is how I rigged up my Garmin setup on the front of the sled this year. And, you know, we've got the gauge relocator on here, which lifts the gauge up 2.5 inches. And as you can see, riding down the trail, perfect field of view, no blockage at all by the handlebars. So I really, really love that accessory from Skidoo and threw it on this thing this year. And then got my Garmin on top. You know, for those, I think I got a lot of questions over the years. You know, you've seen the progression obviously towards moving to 146s, and the sled really does handle very well on trails. It's an excellent trail sled. Now, the one thing you will notice, and I was just kind of playing around with it before I started recording the video, is on hard packed trail like this, I did notice my temps running around 50 to 53 degrees. And that's a little warm compared to what I'm normally used to and what these motors should typically be running at. And the one thing about the backcountry, as soon as you drop the scratchers down, boom, you can see I'm running 42 degrees, spot on, great temp, and the scratchers make a massive difference. So, you know, for those of you that are going to be trail riding it, you get out onto a road like this, you're going to want to be running those scratchers down because that one big 146-inch track, you know, it needs cooling, and you definitely want to make sure that it gets it. And obviously I like to dip it in the snow too when I'm running roads. This one isn't so bad, but you know, you just want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the temps. I would say that's probably one of the biggest differences between running a 146 versus a 137. The sled's awesome, super comfortable. You know, one of the things I always talk about is how much I love the you know, the riding position on this one. And again, just going back and forth from Jesse's comp, it really does feel like I'm sitting more upright on the backcountry, and I've talked about it in, you know, previous initial thoughts videos and review videos that I've done on these sleds. You do feel like you're sitting a little more upright. My back's a little straighter. I don't feel like I'm necessarily sitting down and kind of like in the sled. So I love the seating position. I think the Backcountry is just an awesome sled from Skidoo. And you know, if you're a two-stroker, you can't go wrong with these for pretty much all the type of riding that we do, especially up here in Cochrane, where we're doing a mix of trail riding as well as off-trail. It really is a fantastic platform that you know, works exceptionally well for what we need it to do up here. And we do a lot of backcountry riding, and like I said, we do a lot of 50-50 riding, so it's not just mashing trails, but the sled just does it all. Honestly, it's like the Swiss Army knife for sleds for us, for sure. Pro 36 shocks all around, so really nice shock package. Not the best from KYB, but you know, they work extremely well. You've got the 3-clicker adjustments on those shocks, and you can't leave them in between, but I've got them set up this year a little bit stiffer than what I had last year, and seems to be working well. I've set my center spring a little bit tighter as well. Now, the one thing that again I love about the Backcountries and the 146 skid is just that uncoupled skid is super fun when you're going through some of the little hills and stuff on the trail, and you can really, even in deep snow, get that front end up if you need to. And they're just all around, like, I find a really fun sled. Out back, I've got 102 studs, 2 per row. They're stud boys. The PowerPoint 1.675s. I've got 1.625s. I've got this 1.5-inch Storm track, which is a great track. Hooks up really well, and you know, that provides adequate traction as well as really good braking when you're on hard packed trails. And you know, the only thing I kind of wish, you know, I was looking at the gearing. Actually, the gearing too is a little bit different than the comp. That's probably one of the main differences between the comps and the Backcountry, is the gearing on this one is just a little bit lower. They both have 27 tooth top gears, but this one's got a 45 tooth bottom gear, and the Jesse's comp's got a 49 tooth bottom gear. So that's you know, a big difference obviously between the sleds. So his is geared a little bit for a little bit more top speed. He's also got 9 tooth drivers on his. I think that's a little bit different than the Backcountry as well. So those are some of the key differences. I think the only other thing I would love to see Skidoo is the 4-piston caliper brake on this thing would be great, and I just don't know, you know, why they haven't put that in yet. It would be awesome to have it, but you see, it lifts so easily when you get over these little hills, and it just makes it super fun to ride. But still, honestly, overall for a 146 sled, it absolutely stays nice and planted on the trails. And I love the steering effort on it too. I find it's a really nice steering sled when you're trail riding it. All right, guys. Well, hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight. We're gonna get some miles. I think I've only got almost 300K now on the Backcountry. We're gonna get some miles loaded on this thing this year, and obviously put it through its paces. But you know, it's definitely been one of my favorite sleds over the years, and again, since they came out with it in the turbo. Just can't beat it. The thing rips. Alright guys, well, it's starting to get dark and we're gonna head back to the hotel, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you guys liking and subscribing, and we will see you on the next one.